Afternoon, Patriots. Me again, Shannon Fox here, Devoted Patriots 2 channel. I want to bring you all a couple things involving the election, but before I get into that, I want to tell you what I was doing earlier today. Earlier today, I was in a room with about a half a dozen people. We were all discussing politics while we were waiting on our turn to be called into the next room. It was about everybody trying to get the same job. But I was in the room with several people that actually had a few questions about my hat. We got to talking. Truth be known, right off the bat, one of the guys asked me, he said, "Well, I'm a felon. I just got out of prison. I probably can't vote." I said, "Well, are you on parole, still on paper of any kind?" He says, "No, not at this point." I said, "So, well, if you want to register and vote, you've got very little time left to do it, but you can do it. You can do it on your phone, or you can go right down to the RNC right here on Valley Mills Road and get it done there as well." He's like, "Great deal." One of the other guys says, "I'm voting." He said, "I'm voting for Trump." Another guy says, "I don't know if my vote will count or not, but I'm going to vote as well." He left it at that. And then there was a colored melanated person in the room, lady, and she says, "I'm a registered voter, but I don't think I'm going to vote this time." They give it away right there, right quick. She was a Democrat. And so I started talking to everybody in the room, trying to include her in on the conversation. I tell them, "Look, I do a little podcast on YouTube, and my main objective here on the podcast is one thing and one thing only, and that is to get people registered to vote and get people more motivated to vote, get people more aware of what's going on in the world with the news, not just watching mainstream media on the television." I said that is a big part of my entire premise, wanting people to get activated, pay attention to what's going on in the world for their own sake as well. And she agreed with me a little bit there. And we got to talking, and she's like, she wasn't coming right out saying she hated Trump, but she was saying, "Well, I don't agree with most of the lies that comes out of the news." I said, "Well, I can agree with you on that." I said, left wing and right wing media both tell stories in order to prop up their guy. I said, but more than anything, the mainstream media covers the left, the Democrats. I said, and for the most part, they lie to most of the American people about a lot of things. And she could not argue with that. She said, "I agree with you." She said, most of the media does lie for their team member. And I said, "Well, with that alone, you got to do a little bit of opposition research." I said, "I watch a little CNN, MSNBC." I said, "At times," I said, "but more than that, I like to do a lot of reading of articles from different sites like the Gateway Pundit." We got to talking about it, and she said, "I know who the Gateway Pundit is." She says, "I do a lot of research myself." And then she got to talking to me about Clarence Thomas and his possible charges for bribery and things. And she said she liked Clarence Thomas up to the point that he has these bribery allegations. I said, "Well, are you going to take the bribery allegations as a reason to hate him?" She said, "No, not till I learn more about the story." I said, "Well, the truth of the matter is, um, there's probably not one person in Washington, including the Democrats," I said, "that hasn't taken the money, hasn't had a friend offer them a favor for voting in the way that they prefer." I said, "It happens every day in Congress." I said, "That's why the lobbyists, Big Pharma, and the military industrial complex hover around Congress 24/7 trying to get their agendas pushed through." I said, "It's not a Republican thing or it's a Democrat thing. It is the people that control our government thing, and everybody else is just puppets to the cause according to what team they're on." She said, "I agree with that wholeheartedly, 100%. And so I kind of thought for a minute I was getting to her. And I said, "Well, I encourage everybody to vote no matter how you vote." She said, "Well, I'm not going to vote this time." She says, I can't vote for Trump. I don't like Trump. I don't like his attitude." She says, "But I'm probably not going to vote at all." She says, "Because I cannot." She said, "I can't handle the lies that Kamala has basically covered for Joe being dementia ridden." She admitted that Joe was dementia ridden. We all had a conversation about that. Kind of funny. But she says, "No, I think I'm just going to abstain from voting this time." She said, "I've always voted Democrat." She said, I can't do it this time." So that's good news as well, folks. I prefer to get her changed over to a Republican. I don't know if my talking did any good to her, but I definitely tried to let her know that I'm try to be as open-minded as possible about the news feeds. And I encourage everybody to do so as well. I said, not everything you've heard about Trump is the truth. I said, especially if you're watching only one type of the media. I said mainstream media hates Trump. 90% of the media coverage about Trump is negative. I said, just like 90% of the media coverage about Kamala Harris and Joe Biden is positive. She said, "Oh, I know." She said, "I know mainstream media coverage for the Democrats." She said, "That's obvious." But everybody else ended up getting up and out of the room. They all got their name called one after another. Until it was just me and this lady's name. I forget her name. But we talked for about another 10 or 15 minutes. I don't believe I'm going to get her to vote for Trump. But I believe that she is more set now than ever that she definitely will not vote for Kamala Harris or Biden. She said she didn't like the fact that Kamala Harris has not told the American people the truth about what's going on behind the scenes with Biden or told us anything about her policies. I said it's really kind of turned into a joke trying to pin Kamala down on her policy. She said I have the same issues with her. She said I don't like her. She said she said that's why I'm probably not going to vote this time. She said I don't see any candidates that's worth my vote. I said okay, well I said I appreciate the way you feel about that. And there's nothing more I can say to you other than hopefully we'll get a candidate in there you prefer a little more. I said how did you feel about RFK Jr.? And she's like, I don't know. He supports Trump. I said, well, how do you feel about Elon Musk? Oh, I like Black Twitter. So it kind of gave me an idea right quick of what kind of person she is. She kind of sees things through that lens. You know what I'm talking about, folks? So I knew me trying to talk to her about the things that Trump has done for the black people and things, but she was not going to hear it. I knew it right off the bat. But we went on and talked for several more minutes, and it ended up being a very good conversation. And then when I left there, went by one of my local little convenience stores here, and the lady at the drive-through window at the convenience store, she's from Korea. I talk to her all the time. She said, "Oh, I like your Trump hat." I said, "Oh, thank you." She said, "I voted for Trump." I said, "I'm glad. I hope your whole family vote for Trump." She said, "My family's from Korea." She said, "My family live everywhere in the United States, all over the country." She said, "And we're all voting for Trump." She said, "We come from a communist country." She says, she said, "The Democrats, they are liars." I said, "I agree with you." I said, "They don't tell the truth about anything." She said, "No." She said, "They're communist." She said, "The Democrats and the media do not care about the people." And this is a Korean lady speaking clear as day to me, and I just was really happy to hear that her entire Korean family, no telling how many people that is, supports Trump. And I think that is pretty much true across the board. Anybody that lives in that is a not necessarily a newcomer to this country, but someone that is grew up in a communist country and has fled their country and end up here, maybe through amnesty, immigration, or whatever, end up getting start a business here and run a business here. These people know what it's like to live in an impoverished country, that the government controls everything, that is run by the threat to democracy bullshit. She said, "This is not democracy." She said, "We are in a republic." I said, I know. She said, "Most people say a threat to democracy, threat to democracy." She said, "Trump will fix this." I said, "Well, I hope so." She said, "No one else can fix it." She said, "Only Trump can fix the problems the Democrats have brought us." I said, "You're right." Went to the line, got ready to drive off. She gave me one of those little paper bills. I got it here somewhere. Little paper bills with Trump's face on it. You know, I've got a gold one. Actually, it was given to me at CPAC, but she gave me a little paper bill on it. And it's got Trump and J.D. Vance's picture on the little paper bill. It says not a real tender currency. But she gave it to me as I was getting ready to leave. She said, "Everybody come in here in my store. We love Trump." I thought that was a pretty cool story for you today, folks. I have been trying to get in people's ear, trying to get people registered. Hopefully I did some good today, and maybe even got a lady second guessing and questioning some of the way she feels about Trump. I am doing my damnedest, folks, trying to get this shit straightened out here in Texas, because I see a lot of calling all red signs and a lot of Kamala Harris signs here in town, and it's mostly the brainwashed people that have been watching the local news stations here. A lot of the melanated people in the city for sure here in Waco. But more than that, there's a lot of people that are just not interested in politics and don't think it matters if they vote or not. And that is the biggest factor for me that really kind of blows my mind, that people don't realize what an important election this is. So I try to teach them, try to tell them, try to not harp on them, but get in their ear, explain to them, show them some facts. I even showed everybody that I was talking to today in that room while we were in that waiting room, Gateway Pundit, just for a place to find more of the truth versus what the media is telling you, and including the black girl. She was looking at my phone. So maybe I did some good, maybe not. Maybe I just did a lot of talking, but trying to do my damnedest, folks, to get people motivated, registered, and voting for Donald J. Trump and J.D. Vance and the whole team that's going to come along with it, including Elon Musk and RFK and the bunch. Sounds like a dream team, if you ask me. It'll be the best presidential team we've ever had, or should I say executive branch team we've ever had in the history of America, I do believe we got people that actually want to fight to save this country, and it's nothing but good stuff as long as we win. Now, I've got two articles here I wanted to bring to y'all today. I'm going to do a little bit of reading. Democrats are in panic in Georgia after the election board subpoenaed all the 2020 election records from Fulton County. And Fulton County, Georgia, is one of the main hubs where a good 30% of the votes from the state come from. So it is definitely a serious issue to get these situations resolved. It says Georgia State Election Boards. The Georgia State Election Board is working overtime in an attempt to investigate the controversial 2020 election and to clean up the future elections in the state. However, the officials of Fulton County continue to refuse to do the work with State Election Board. However, the officials of Fulton County, but they may soon change. The Georgia State Election Board voted 3-2 to subpoena all of the election board from Fulton County during the 2020 election. 3 Republicans, 2 Democrats. The Republicans voted for it. The Democrats voted against it. This will not turn out well for Fulton County because we know what they did to us in Fulton County. They beat us up. For sure they did. Now, I've got a clip here for you from the War Room, Real America's Voice. One of Trump's spokesmen over here, I believe it's on the War Room, speaking. So Liz Harrington, who was a attorney for Trump during the 2020, joined Natalie Winters, who is, I believe that's Steve Bannon's daughter, on the War Room to discuss the latest from Georgia. Liz Harrington this is all stemming from the huge historic case, SCB 2023-0-2025, that without a doubt proved that the election results were fabricated in the 2020 during the second machine recount. The Secretary of State, in cahoots with the Fulton County, tried to sweep this case under the rug last May, but ever since the State Election Board has kept it going and revived it, just trying to follow the truth and follow the facts. And so what happened now is an unexpected development because Fulton County tried to appoint its own monitoring team to monitor the 2024 election, all as a result of this case, which found without any objection, even by the Secretary of State, that there was duplicate votes. They just wouldn't admit that they actually were counted when they knew they were. This was supposed to be the punishment, but they got to appoint their own monitoring team, which is totally insane. Well, because they did that, 3 members of the State Election Board just subpoenaed all the records from the 2020 so they can actually finish the investigation, so they can actually get to the bottom of what happened. So they started acting contrary about hiding the evidence and trying not to give up the information about the 2020, and it caused the board to go, maybe we need to rethink this whole situation, and it looks like it's going to go our direction. Here we go, folks. Alrighty, let me shrink me down here a little bit, get me out of the way. There we go. Alrighty, we got Miss Winters and Liz Harrington.
We get the chance to go through the data, go through the facts, go through the evidence when it comes to all things 2020 election. You can take that, Jack Smith. Today, the Georgia State Election Board voted 3-2 to subpoena 2020 election records from the nefarious Fulton County. We're joined now by Liz Harrington, who's going to walk us through kind of what this means, give us the context for it, and if it's going to happen, the ramifications for it.
Hey, Natalie, so great to see you. This is a huge and kind of unexpected development. This is all stemming from the huge historic case, SCB 2023-025, that without a doubt proved that the election results were fabricated in 2020 during the second machine recount. The Secretary of State, in cahoots with Fulton County, tried to sweep this case under the rug back last May. But ever since, the State Election Board has kind of kept it going and revived it by just trying to follow the truth and follow the facts. And so what's happened now, in kind of an unexpected development, because Fulton County tried to appoint its own monitoring team, to monitor the 2024 election, all as a result of this case, which found without any objection, even by the Secretary of State, that there were duplicate votes. They just wouldn't admit that they actually were counted when we know they were. This was supposed to be the punishment, but they get to appoint their own monitoring team, which is totally insane. Well, because they did that, 3 members of the state election board just subpoenaed all the records from 2020 so they can
see what they did there. They tried to pull a fast one, and because of the way they acted, they actually got this case, give this case a second look, which has now got it going in the right direction. Awesome, folks.
Actually finish the investigation so they can actually get to the bottom of what happened there. And we know it's not good for Fulton County or for Joe Biden.
And walk us through if you see any potential pushback coming, of course, not just from Democrats, but Republicans. From what I was understanding, it seems like the AG down there was maybe already starting to push back on the likelihood of being able to audit these results. Or do you think this will actually materialize and happen?
Good question.
Well, they're not stopping, so I think this will actually happen. So AG Carr has already put out an opinion, which is just a legal opinion. And of course, he's going to be on the side of Raffensperger to say that this case can't go forward. But the fact is they never had a hearing. The law is actually on the complainant's side. They had the right to present evidence. They were never given that opportunity. Back in May, the Secretary of State's investigators just tried to totally sweep it under the rug, say, oh, mistakes were made, but, we'll fix it next time. But that's not going to fly because you actually have people on the state election board who want to get the truth and want this to not happen again. And that's really what this is about. So we have to figure out exactly what happened in 2020 so it won't happen again in 2024. So they will move forward with this. They're going to do their own investigation. I'm sure there's going to be plenty of lawsuits. Fulton County has already filed a lawsuit over this fake monitoring team.
What's going to happen from this point forward, since the discovery of the whole drop of information that they really wanted is going to come out due to the subpoena process? The only thing that will stop it will be dozens of lawsuits coming from the Democrats in the state that are trying to say, nothing to see here. We don't want you looking at the books. Because if you look at the books, you'll know what happened in 2020, and you'll know we won't be able to repeat the process in 2024. I'm glad to see 3 of the 5 people that voted on this, the Board of Elections, actually sees that somebody is trying to cover shit up, do shit improperly, and not credential the facts. Once they found out there was duplicate votes, they should have right at that point threw up red flags everywhere and not certified the state. But we all know what happened there. Won't go any further into that, but this is actually a drop of good news, folks. With the exception of the court putting a hold on this situation until after the election, which would be just basically watering it down and putting it on hold. But it looks like, as close as we are to the election, it may go on through to be able to get real investigations into how many people voted in Georgia as a duplicate. It's a good question, folks. I got one more video, one more video I want to bring to y'all today. It's in Spanish. I will turn down the volume on it because I don't speak Spanish, but I will translate for you. And this is a warning to all the people in this country that are here illegally that think that they should be voting, or the people in this country like the NGOs and the Democrats that are trying to register people to vote irregardless of their voter status, of their citizenship status. This is a warning out to y'all. It says legal votes only Spanish language ad campaigns warns non-citizens against casting ballots, warns of arrest and deportation if caught. Shouldn't even be registered to vote if you're an illegal. Now, as you see here, this is a big ass billboard. It says don't vote or you go to jail, which, truth be known, I don't know what the hell it says. I don't speak Spanish. Si no eres cuidando votar es un delito. Something about not voting illegal. So the Spanish language ad campaign is warning non-citizens they are not allowed to vote in the next month's presidential election. The campaign, led by conservative advocacy group, Look Ahead America will run in Nevada, Arizona, both of which have a large Hispanic population. Why aren't they running this here in Texas? However, they also are hoping to expand to other swing states such as Pennsylvania. What about Texas? The group said in a press release, non-citizens voting in federal elections is illegal under the Illegal Immigration Reform and Immigrant Responsibility Act of '96. However, there are still cases of it occurring, putting non-citizens at risk of facing serious charges of affecting the outcome of the election. Just last month, the Department of Justice convicted an illegal immigrant from Guatemala of voting illegally in August. Governor Glenn Youngkin removed 6,300 non-citizens from the voter rolls in Virginia. Even more troubling is a peer-reviewed scientific study published by the Electoral Studies found non-citizens voting in federal elections did, in fact, affect the outcome of critical elections. Yeah, if you water the vote down by even 2 or 5%, you've changed the results of the election. We need zero illegals voting policy. Now it says if you are not a citizen, do not put yourself and your family at risk by casting an illegal ballot in the federal election. Now I'm going to turn the volume down on this video. We're going to watch it together, and I'm going to read you what's at the bottom. Alrighty, folks, that's the best I can do as far as translation goes. Mute this sucker. But this is they've got billboards up, like I showed you, but they've also got the videos coming out, obviously on television. Maybe we get some Spanish radio station commercials as well. That would be great. Now here we go, folks. I'm just going to read you what the video says. It says, look ahead, America. This is a reminder for all citizens for the upcoming election. However, if you are not a citizen, you are not allowed to vote in the federal election, and voting in the election can result in your arrest, a loss of chance of citizenship, and deportation. If you are not a citizen, do not put your family at risk of casting an illegal ballot in the federal elections. This is a public service announcement from Look Ahead America. I love it. I love it. Short and sweet. If you vote in this election and you're an illegal, you're not only going to be charged with a criminal felony, but your ass may be the first one to be deported. I love it. I love it. They need to put this in every state, including Texas. Every state is a swing state as far as I'm concerned with this voting situation going on with these illegals finding a way to vote. So the gateway pundit has long blown whistles on the large number of non-citizens who participate in American electoral process, the majority of whom are encouraged to do so by the Democrat Party and its operatives. The Republican legislatures have sought to rectify the problem by demanding voter identification. These efforts are vehemently opposed by their Democrat counterparts who falsely claim that this is a significant issue. The Democrats call it voting rights when they're trying to get illegals to vote, and we try to stop it. So meanwhile, many blue states are actively seeking to pass legislation enfranchising non-citizens so that Democrats can achieve their long-term aim of unbreakable nationwide supermajority. It's what they did in California, giving them all amnesty. They let them in for about 15 years. Now California is a blue state, and that is the very reason. It's not because there weren't a bunch of Republicans there, a bunch of common sense Americans there. It's because they flooded the voter rolls over there with all the amnesty given illegals in the state of California, and now the Democrats control 60 or 70% of the votes in the state, down ballot races all the way up to the governor's race. No doubt about it, folks. California is screwed behind this very process they're trying to do to the entire country. This is what I got for you today, folks. Hopefully everybody enjoyed, had a great day. Hopefully you got your Trump signs out, you're wearing your Trump gear, you're out talking to people, you're out trying to do the right thing to encourage everybody. Stay peaceful, stay vigilant, register to vote, get your neighbors registered to vote, and then go vote and get everybody you can to show up to vote. And putting a bug in people's ear every day like I do doesn't hurt a drop. I consider that my duty, as well as bringing y'all information each and every day. As part of this podcast, I feel it is my duty as an American citizen to try to do every single thing I can to get even one more person registered to vote and voting. Like, subscribe, and share to Voted Patriots. Over and out.